September 29th. I hope everyone's weekend's been fantastic, great, and you're looking forward to getting the week started coming tomorrow. Sebastian Rogers. That's why we're here. Let's do essentially a follow-up to our last video. Stepson is missing. Wife is a mess. Everyone is out looking. Why are you lying? What are you hiding? This video is allegedly, in my opinion, my thoughts, my beliefs, due to my research, things that have been told to me, things that I've gotten out on the scene and found out myself. Please, I urge everyone to do their own research, and together we can help find Sebastian Rogers. Sebastian Rogers, missing teen. Gone from his home in Hendersonville, Tennessee, February 26, 2024. Ladies and gentlemen, that is 216 days ago. That's 216 days too long. Where is Sebastian? That is the question. Where is Sebastian? Say his name. Say his name. Say his name. Sebastian Rogers. Sebastian Rogers. Sebastian Rogers. So, back to this. This is going to guide our video here and what we're going to discuss, and that is, what are things we know? We know that Sebastian's missing. So if you're Chris Proudfoot, his stepfather, we know Sebastian's missing, so your stepson is missing. You know that, we know that. Your wife is a mess. Now, ladies and gentlemen, let me stop here for a minute and say, follow me here. They have a story that they've told. Sebastian walked out of the house, and they don't know where he is. Therefore, yes, your wife is a mess. Therefore, yes, your stepson is missing. Third point, everyone is looking. Everyone is looking. You're working, Chris Proudfoot. You're working. You're working. So why are you lying? And what are you hiding? That's what we hope we find out as we dive more into this. Stepson is missing. Wife is a mess. Everyone's looking. Why are you lying? What are you hiding? Say his name. Say his name. We're going to discuss the alibi of Chris Proudfoot and put it against information given. Information that was, how do I say this? As I mentioned in the last video, I wasn't looking for this information. What have I been doing over the last several weeks? I've been trying to find out, where was Chris Proudfoot, stepdad to Sebastian Rogers? Where was this guy? This guy right here. Where was he the night Sebastian went missing? More specifically, where was his RV? Was his RV at Yogi? Was it at Easy Days? Was it at this RV park or that RV park? Where exactly was it? Why do we need to know that? Well, because my theory at the time, in my opinion, was that whether Chris Proudfoot was at the RV when Katie made the phone call, or already in Hendersonville, that he had taken Sebastian back to the RV area. That's why I've been searching so intensively in the Horn Lake, in the South Haven, Mississippi area, as well as the Memphis area. So that's what we've been trying to find out. So I approach an RV place, a new one, and I get information. This information we're talking about from the last video. I get information told to me. Blows my mind. And it just shows what I already believed. Shady. Now, shady was the comment given to me. But here's the thing, ladies and gentlemen. If Sebastian wasn't missing, and I spoke to this same individual, they would tell me shady. He's not shady because Sebastian's missing and how he's been allegedly, in my opinion, lying to us all. He's just shady. But we only know him because Sebastian's missing. So we're only seeing that side. But one thing I didn't mention in the last video is this is the description of the character, shady. So if you're already shady and you find yourself in this situation, you have no problem telling untruths. Telling untruths. So what was his alibi? I believe the alibi is simple because in his own words, I believe Nancy Grace is the one I remember the most, where he's like, I don't really need to take a lie detector. I'm not really considered anything because guess what? Of where I was. Hadn't been home all month. I'm 240 miles away, 3 hours, 37 minutes, doorstep to doorstep. And I was there all night. And then when Katie called me in the morning, I was there on the job site, got there at 5:15, and blah, 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 blah. I couldn't leave until 11 because there was no one to relieve me, blah, 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 blah. Shady. But that was his alibi. Essentially, I'm in Memphis all weekend, been there all month. Whether I stayed up all night, slept, whatever, was there that night, made it to the job site, knew nothing about Sebastian missing until 6:30. But what's the information we were given? Shady. So that alone tells you we can't trust this alibi. That alone. Okay? But also, job site 5:15. Now, allegedly, in my opinion, let me say this. Tell us why you're on the job site at 5:15 if you were. I don't believe you were, and from what I was told, verifies that you weren't. But what were you doing if you were? What did you do? We'll jump way down here. What did you do? But you're on the job site at 6:30. Same time you're getting a call from Katie. You don't do 911. You do the sheriff's department. 3-way call. And you want to talk about shady. You hang up with your wife. You hang up with your wife who is a mess. You allow the cops to come, descend on your house, start searching your neighborhood, start searching the area. And you, with your stepson missing, do 2 things based on the information given. You go to work and you don't report it. So you have to ask yourself, why would you not report your stepson missing? Why would you not report your stepson missing? I'll tell you exactly why I believe this. He wanted to keep 240 miles away from 240 miles. He wanted Memphis, Tennessee, South Haven, and Horn Lake, Mississippi to stay separate from Hendersonville, Tennessee. And ladies and gentlemen, he accomplished that. How do I know he accomplished that? He didn't tell anybody his stepson was missing. They found out later. He didn't alert anyone even when he came back to the area with Katie because the Horn Lake Police Department did not know Sebastian was missing. No one has known Sebastian has been missing in that area. From multiple RV places to multiple restaurants, anywhere I've handed a flyer, I always do 2 things. I say, here's a flyer. Take a look at it. Are you aware that this boy is missing? And secondly, would you post this? I can't make you post it, but I'd really like if you would post it in your establishment. The number 1 response, no, had no clue this boy was missing. I actually asked long ago when I was at a Cracker Barrel, 3 miles from Yogi Bear. And I asked the waitress 2 things. I said, do you know about the boy missing? She didn't know. I showed a photo and said, he ever come in here? I was just curious if he had ever been over there with these two. Anyway, getting a little bit off the topic here. Let's stick to the topic. So his alibi, okay, is no good. If he will lie to us about what time on the job site, if he will lie to us about no relief, if he will lie to us like he told them stepson was missing. See, Chris, in my opinion, is one of these people that like, he won't state everything, but he'll lead you to believe something. So I don't think he's ever mentioned, in my opinion, I don't think I've ever heard him mention that he like told them his stepson was missing, but he led us to believe he did. I mean, why wouldn't he? Why wouldn't anyone tell your employer, hey, I'm sorry I'm out of sorts today. I'm sorry I'm a little off focus. My stepson's missing. I didn't tell, one of the comments was, why would he tell a coworker, right? Well, there's a couple of things here. Number one, if he told management, his superior, I'm sure they wouldn't have they would have told him to go home. Okay? Not in a bad way, go home, but go be with your wife. Go find your stepson. Secondly, the person who I spoke to was directly working with Chris, and it was becoming a safety issue. Let me give you an example. Chris, tower crane operator, and he's got to hook these beams. He can't hook the beams. Someone has to hook the beams, right? So let's just say you're going to hook a beam, and this wasn't told to me. I'm just my own creativity, my own imagination here on. But you're going to hook this beam for Chris to lift up, and he starts lifting it before you can even hook it. Little things like that. It'll show that the focus is off because you're working directly with him. So if he'll lie about what time job site, stepson is missing, doesn't have a relief, that's why he come home later. If he'll lie about these things, of course he's going to lie about his full-on alibi where he was. So, shady. That leads us to bite marks. A lot of comments on the bite marks, okay? I've never really focused on these. I'm aware of what everybody's talking about. I know that Chris has said the puppies, the two Yorkie dogs. My dog is a Shih Tzu Maltese, Malty Shiz, or what they call it, Shizmal, or whatever, Malty Shiz, something. Anyway, she's probably 10 pounds heavier than these dogs. And we fight, we wrestle all the time. She gets a hold of my hand, my arm, my finger, and I can feel her teeth, but she will not bite. Neither would these dogs, okay? So, only way these dogs would bite if he was treating them wrong, and that's another topic for another day. So, could these bite marks be from Sebastian? Allegedly, in people's opinion. I've never really focused on it. I guess one of the reasons you get too detailed of like, did poor Sebastian have to fight for his life? And if so, did he bite Chris in order to get away? That's a theory. It's a strong theory. And I guess for me, it's like those details, they do matter. Don't get me wrong, they do matter. But it's like, how does, biting him get us to where Sebastian is? Because the goal is, where is Sebastian, right? Finding him. But those bite marks, absolutely comments. Up all night and tired. Up all night and tired. Was Chris up all night? And was he tired? And is this why his focus was off? I believe his focus was off because I believe Chris Proudfoot, allegedly, in my opinion, on the early morning hours, late hours of the 25th, and on the early morning hours of the 26th of February, I believe, in my opinion, this is my belief, that he did something that in all of his years of living he's never done before. Could that be just covering up for Mom Proudfoot? Could that be actually hurting Sebastian himself? I believe that whatever he did, question, what did you do? I believe, as I like to always believe, everyone's good. And sometimes it's circumstances and things that happen around us and to us that make us make that decision from good or bad at that moment. But I believe at that moment he became bad. And I believe the next day in that crane, according to information I was given and the way his behavior was, it was really bothering him. I believe, in my opinion, that the reason he worked as long as he did is because he did not want to get to the house and he did not want to face the police. Think about this. He and she report at 6:30. He goes on to work. We know he works until 11 a.m. We know this. As a matter of fact, some of the comments I got were, I tried to tell people this. This is the same information I got. As a matter of fact, I saw a comment. I don't think this was on YouTube. I think it was actually on Facebook because they had posted my video, and I think the comment actually gave a name. And all I'm going to say is that's the same name I spoke to. I don't give the names out. Journalists, if you will. Why reveal sources? If I tell the name of who I spoke to, and tomorrow they think of something, why would they call me if they think I'm exposing them? I don't want to do that. I just want to get the information out there. But why did he work till 11? And why did he wait to be relieved before he went home? Well, I believe he knew he would be interrogated or questioned by the cops. But from 6:30 to 11, as he worked, he could have easily been home. He should have been home. This is not, in my opinion, this is what I know from driving the area. He should have been home by 10 a.m. A solid 3.5 to 4 hours before he was. Why? Okay? Why? So that brings us back to, we know stepson is missing. We know wife is a mess. We know everyone's looking. This brings us back to, why are you lying? And what are you hiding? Ladies and gentlemen, there's no reason to lie if you have nothing to hide. I've studied this from my earlier videos. If someone is questioning me about anything and I have nothing to hide, then I have no reason to lie. The thing about Chris Proudfoot is this, and this is alleged in my opinion, but go to an earlier video I did. I did a whole video about how similar to this, his alibi and his lies. Ladies and gentlemen, he will lie in the same interview. You watch a 30-minute interview, whether he's calling in, whether you can see him, whether he's on camera, off camera, and in minute 5 he'll say something, and 20 minutes later he'll say something different. I mean, he lies in his own words. You know, it's one thing for someone to lie to you and you find out later. He will actually lie in the interview, saying one thing 1 minute and saying something else the other, which means, I said it was blue earlier, now I'm saying it's red. That's just who he is, right? That's just who he is. So when you see shady, you hear shady, it didn't shock me. And I said, my reply was, I don't know the man, but I've watched his interviews and he's unlikable. He's unlikable due to the fact of how he speaks and acts, his behavior. So, bite marks. Could that be Sebastian? Was he up all night? Chris? Was he tired? Chris, what did you do? What did you do? Because we have so much information that shows what you told us. And in some cases, I don't even think that people were even asking him. He would just offer up information. But from the start, I'm in Memphis. I'm 240 miles away, 3 hours and 37 minutes. I was on the job site at 5:15. I called Katie from the crane. Think about this. This wasn't specifically spoken about, and I didn't specifically ask. looking back on it, I wish I had of. But the question is simple. Can any tower crane operator be on their cell phone in the crane? I'm curious if they can even bring their cell phone into the crane. But according to Chris, he has an earplug in one side for the work and another earplug in the other side for the phone. Now, ladies and gentlemen, you are lifting beams up 30, 40, 50 feet in the air. Do you honestly think your employer is going to let you, and it's probably against safety regulations, to be distracted from a phone call? Come on. Come on. So these are things he was telling us early on that point back to this. Shady. Right? Shady. So, his alibi versus information was given do not, as they say, match up. Okay? They do not match up. So Chris Proudfoot, Katie Proudfoot, what did you do the night your stepson and your son went missing? This boy here, Sebastian Rogers. This boy here, say his name, Sebastian Rogers. So, if we can't believe those closest to him, and if they are clearly showing us they're hiding something, then I hope this answers one of the comments I got. Why do I believe they're involved? It's that simple. Follow me here. If they would have sat down at certain time. Oh, by the way, let me back up about the 8 days. That's just another behavior. Why did it take 8 days to come on the camera? It just kind of hit me there, sidetrack, but at the same time, it's relevant. But ask the question to me, why do you think they're involved? Well, I think they're involved because of their behavior, because of their omission of things, because of 8 days to do the first interview, because of not screaming to the world, help us find our son, because of, lying in interviews when they're lying in front of you. They're saying one thing 1 minute and saying completely opposite the next. All of these things show behavior of suspect people. Now, what's the opposite of that? Here's the opposite of that. I was here. Here's every minute. Here's every minute. From 6:30 p.m. to 6:30 a.m., here's every minute. Okay? Here's every minute. But that's not the case. But Katie can tell you every minute of the day, that day for the most part. And Chris can tell you his whole weekend. But that day, those 12 hours, conveniently omitted. Right? Conveniently omitted. If you remember the Nancy Grace interview, let's go back to this right here. Talk about Alibi. You remember the Nancy Grace interview where she asked him about when the last time he was at home? And then he says, I can't speak about specific days. After saying he hadn't been home the whole month, he changes it to specific days. So were there specific days? Or was he not home the entire month? If you're not home the entire month, why are you talking about specific days? Once again, shady. So, here's where we are. We know Chris Proudfoot is shady. We know all the things that we learned about the job site. We know the inconsistencies in his alibi. We know all these. But ladies and gentlemen, even with that, how does that get us closer to answering the question, where is Sebastian Rogers? Where is his stepson? Because that's the question, okay? I think what we can believe is this. Chris Proudfoot's never going to tell us where he is. On one hand, Chris Proudfoot will say, maybe one day he'll just be found in the woods. And on the other hand, Chris Proudfoot says, you'll never find him. So the one thing I think we know is let's not worry about Chris Proudfoot. Let's find his stepson, Sebastian Rogers. Okay? Because look at this, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to break this down to what we can do. You listening, me talking. Here's what we can do. Keep his awareness alive. How do we do that? Flyers, post, say his name. Go print flyers. As I've always said, silver's on the scene at yahoo.com. I'll send you the flyer if you don't have it. Print flyers. Electronically email flyers. Or electronically post the flyer. Post anything. Get on Facebook right now and type out Sebastian Rogers. Missing 15-year-old from Hendersonville, Tennessee. Gone since February 26, 2024. That's it. You know what? Let's condense it even better. Get on Facebook right now and type in your post, what do you have to say? Sebastian Rogers. And shoot it off. Say his name. So that's the one thing that we all can do. I don't care if you're in Europe. I don't care if you're in Mexico. I don't care if you're in Alaska. I don't care if you're in Hendersonville, Tennessee. No matter where you are in this world, you can do that. You can share a flyer electronically. You can type his name out. You can just say his name to the universe, Sebastian Rogers. So keep his awareness alive. Because by doing so, this is what we're going to do. We're going to find him. That's going to help us find him. But what else can we do to help us find him? Ask questions. Following it from the last video, and while we're here, continuation with this video. Had I not walked up to a guy I never met before, shook his hand, introduced myself, shared the flyer. And I'll stop right here and say this. If you go to ask questions, if you jump in your car, jump on a plane, get on a bus, get on a train, and make your way to Hendersonville, Tennessee, or Memphis, Tennessee, or Horn Lake, or South Haven, or anywhere, and you approach a person, my advice is to have a flyer in your hand. Okay? Have a flyer already in your hand. And have that flyer know that's not your last flyer. They can keep that flyer. You want them to keep that flyer. Me handing this flyer to this gentleman at the RV park diffused everything. Okay? Meaning, let me say diffused, opened up everything. Because I was expecting to get, no, I don't know, thank you, and I can't tell you anything about the RV. But ladies and gentlemen, it's a missing child. So have the flyer. That's your reason for being there. So if you go to ask questions to anyone, if you decide to visit the job site, St. Jude's, Memphis, Tennessee, if you decide to visit an RV park, if you decide to visit somewhere in Hendersonville, ask questions, have a flyer before you start asking. And search. There you go, search. What is searching? You need to get some steps in. You're in Hendersonville. You're near the home. Walk a tree line. My first ever search look was at Long Hollow Pike Church, which is about a mile from the home. They have a Frisbee golf course there. They have a big parking lot. It's an open park, and it sits adjacent right there with the church. I parked my car, and I started walking. No boots needed. I wasn't getting in the water. I wasn't going through any tall grass. Normal shoes, walking. And I walked that entire place, just looking for something, anything. You never know what you may find. Searching can be that easy, or you can go up and down an 85-degree slope. You can get deep into the woods. If you do those things, I would suggest the appropriate footwear, some type of thing to shovel or a stick of some sort, something to help you stay safe and balanced. But there it is. If we'll do these things, we're going to find him. And then when we find him, which we will, we're going to get justice. Then we will know. By finding him, we're going to know what happened to him. And then we'll know what to do to bring the guilty parties, in my opinion, to justice. Okay? So, say his name. Say his name. What is his name? Who is his name? His name is Sebastian Rogers. Sebastian Rogers. Sebastian Rogers. I'll end on this note. I think I mentioned it in the last video. I'm going to mention it now too. Silvers, why are you doing this? I'm doing this because this boy was done wrong. I'm doing this because I believe this boy was hurt. I'm doing this because, in my opinion, allegedly, the people that were charged with protecting him, keeping him safe, did the complete opposite of that. And that's wrong. I am about justice. I like for things to be right. I don't like to see anyone bullied, beaten, or done wrong. And if I can help in any way, if I can post a flyer, say his name, ask questions, search, I'm going to do that. I saw a movie once, and in the movie, someone was asked the same thing. Why are you so devoted, and why are you helping? And the answer simple was, because I can. And that's my answer. Because I can, and because I want to. Because, ladies and gentlemen, it's real simple. Whether Chris Proudfoot was here on this day, or whether he was there on this day, or whether he tells us, he went to the moon, or whether he tells us he wasn't in Hendersonville, or whether he tells us 3-hour phone call, or whether he tells us we'll never find Sebastian, or whether he tells us we'll stumble across him in the woods, I don't think we can ever trust anything he says. But we don't need him to find Sebastian. We will find Sebastian our way, looking, searching, keeping his name out there. So, I'll just recap with this. Why are you lying? And what are you hiding? And what did you do? Now, hey, I say we don't need Chris Proudfoot. We're going to find him anyway. But absolutely. Yeah, Chris, silversonthescene at yahoo.com and silversonthescene at yahoo.com. It's silversonthescene at yahoo.com, Chris. If you want to email me, or Katie, if you're listening, and this is really getting to you, and you just need to tell somebody, I get all types of anonymous emails. You want to get it off your chest? You want to tell us? Absolutely. Tell me where he's located. Tell me where to go find him. That will help tremendously. But we don't need it, because we're going to find him anyway. But if you want to help us, let us know where your stepson, where your son is. Okay, that's it, ladies and gentlemen. Hope that kind of brings about, we talked last time about all the information found on the job site. And then this is just putting that into, or side by side with, his alibi. Ultimate conclusion, this is allegedly, in my opinion, but my beliefs, you cannot trust the stepdad. And I believe you cannot trust the mother because of the stepdad. So, please do me a favor. Keep his awareness alive with flyers, posts, say his name. Ask questions to help us find him. Search with us if you can. Search on your own so we can get justice. Have a great rest of your Sunday evening. I hope your Monday tomorrow and your whole week is fabulous. And thank you for your support. Thank you for your comments. Keep them coming so we can find Sebastian Rogers. And in everything you do, stay safe, have fun, and be at peace. And stay tuned. Silver's on the scene. As always, more to come. Thank you.